Hi everybody, I am C.E. Dennison. Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while since I've posted anything, but it's been a crazy couple of months for everyone, I believe. So I wanted to do something a little bit different today than talk about the writing process. I actually wanted to introduce you to uh, my prequel to book one. It's a short read. It's only about 130 something pages long. You can probably sit down and read it in a couple hours. It is called The Wizard and the King. So today what I want to do is I want to just share a little bit of this book. I'm going to read it, so I'm not a orator by any means, so if I goof up or stumble, just laugh and bear with me. So here we go. Chapter 1. The dry, barren earth crunched under the weight of King Wall-Iz's armored feet. The ground surrounding them was brown and devoid of any colors which showed life. No one in their stable mind chose to live in the wasteland. Not even the animals were desperate enough to live here. Kinar decided to do exactly that, but then he was not exactly sane. Kinar was the cause of all the death and darkness across the land. His lust for power and magic had created a path of destruction across the world that had never been seen before, or likely never would be seen again. He was the darkest wizard the world of Sam-Ell had ever seen. There was a lull in the battle. A brown beast with tusks extending from its lower jaws stood opposing his men, while the dragons that blotted out the sun stopped their attack. Instead of advancing, the enemies retreated slightly. That did not make any sense. King Wall-Ez and his men were moments from death. The enemy overwhelmed them the moment the army stepped onto the field. King Wall-Ez gazed across the field. The air was thick with dust from the ground and the dark billowing smoke from the burning landscape, casting the land into an unnatural darkness. The dragons had trapped the army with a wall of fire by lighting the little vegetation that clung to the plains ablaze. They were effectively cut off from any help or any chance of retreat. Some of his men had not been so lucky. They had been caught by the spitting fire of the dragons and died screaming in agony with the liquid fire coating their bodies. King Wall-Ez stepped from his protective covering and began yelling orders to his soldiers. "Stop lazing! Those beasts will not stay gone forever." He pointed to several troops. "You go support the forward lines. We cannot allow them to break through. Come on, men, drive forward while you can. We have to hold the line. The princesses are depending on us." He felt a tiny hint of guilt for sacrificing the lives of his men for the lives of his daughter. The last encounter with Kinar and his beasts was still fresh in his mind. Most of his army laid stiff in the field after the battle. The dragons wouldn't allow them back into the valley to bury their dead. Instead, the dragons feasted on their burnt corpses. He could barely see the evil structure Kinar called home through the smoke of the battlefield. Somewhere ahead lay a massive castle. He was not sure what evils waited for him, but that was his destination. His daughters were in there, and he would save them if it cost his life and the lives of every man in his army. That sounds like advice you should follow yourself. The quicker we get there, the quicker we stop Kinar from using the book. If we're not quick, there's nothing my men or I can do for you, a gruff, gravelly voice said from his shoulder. Wall-Ez turned to see Lennar standing slightly behind him. An icy cold shiver crawled up his spine. Lennar was as black as the ash of the burnt fields. His eyes bulged from their sockets. Half of his teeth were gone, and those that remained rotted in his gums. All that remained of his hair was a few thin gray strands protruding from the sore-infested scalp. Most of Lamar's men looked similar. Lennar did not always look like as he did now. It was his lust for magic and being the vessel of too much magic that had taken its toll on his physical appearance. The damage could not be undone. Lennar had been Kinnar's second in command. They shared the search for the book until Kinnar became mad, executing the followers he felt were a liability or competition for control of the book. Lennar decided stopping him was the only hope for the world. It was not an easy choice to make, and he struggled with the desire for more magic, as did all of his followers. They were addicted to the magic. Wallaz had formed a shaky alliance with Lennar and his followers, but secretly he hoped they all died today. Wallaz did not trust Kinnar. He kept him close, even though he felt like he needed eyes in the back of his head. He waited for a lightning bolt or some death spell to fall him. Right now, Lennar's people were helping to rescue his daughters. After that, he would have no use for him. "You're right," Wallaz looked at Lennar's followers. "Where are the rest of your people?" "I sent them to use their powers to reinforce the lines. I am with you. I want to ensure Kinnar meets an unpleasant end." Lennar smiled, showing his rotten teeth. "Let us go while we can," Wallaz said as he stalked toward the castle. His armor clanged as he ran across the uneven ground. Lennar followed behind. Bodies were strewn across the ground, which made the uneven landscape even harder to navigate. Wallaz led the way, calling for his men to follow. As soon as they neared the castle, it became clear the enemy had left the field littered with death. They had only retreated to better defend the perimeter of their castle. The beast stood shoulder to shoulder, blocking any entrance to the fortress. A cry came from above the field. Wallaz looked up to see the evil wizard waving his hands. Without a word, the beast re-engaged the approaching army of the king. "Get ready! Here they come! Hold the line! Today we fight not only for our families, but for the fate of the world. If we fall, they control our world, and they will go after all that we love. The world as we know it will stop here, today." Wallaz tried his best to rally the few soldiers that remained. The opposing sides crashed, and it rang across the battlefield. Many of the king's army did not survive more than a few seconds. The ones that did were scattered within minutes. Defeat seemed imminent. Wallaz raised the enchanted sword. The blade was unbreakable. It had been forged from the fires that had been created the world. No metal could match it in battle. The blade sliced through the beast easily. Lennar turned. He and Wallaz stood back to back, facing the growing horde together. Lennar held no weapon, as he deemed them beneath him. His weapons were his hands. The magic which ate away at him was the tool he used to take the lives of the beasts around him. The beasts snarled and hissed and howled in anticipation of the blood that they were about to taste. There were many dead humans lying on the battlefield to feast upon, but fresh meat tasted so much better. The pack of wild beasts stalked closer to its prey. Wallaz watched as the few remaining soldiers near him were attacked, being bitten and eaten alive by the soulless beasts. Mercifully, many of their screams were cut short as their lives ended. He knew their cries would echo in his nightmares should he live past these moments. "Soldiers, regroup," he called to the remaining fighters. Walla slashed two of the beasts at once, their heads severed from their bodies with ease. Lennar shot lightning from his hands and eyes, ripping through the chest of four beasts. "Show off," Wallace shouted at him. "Would you rather I watch?" Lennar asked bluntly. "No, kill them all," Wallace rasped out. "Quickly, men, come to us." He called to the men battling toward them as he and Lennar advanced to the castle that might be the death waiting for them all. Wallace slashed quickly with his enchanted blade, and the unfortunate beast was cut in half from shoulder to groin. The king turned and aimed his hand at a group of beasts. Flame shot from his hand, engulfing all the beasts in the group. "Where did that come from?" Lennar asked, clearly surprised. "It is good to be the king," Wallace smiled. "Why have you not used it before now?" Lennar asked, slightly annoyed. "It is a one-and-done spell. I can't conjure it often," Wallace explained. The two soldiers made their way through the mass of claws and fangs to the king. Both were bloodied and covered with more injuries than they could count. They fell to their knees before the king. "Your Majesty, thank the Creator you are alive. The men are falling like flies. The flanks have fallen and we are scattered," one soldier repented. "Rest easy, soldier. We will rectify that," King Wallace assured. He scanned the battlefield. Death and dying were all that he could see through the billowing smoke. In the distance he could make out a few more soldiers still standing. "There's only one option, really," Lennar's gravelly voice spoke. "What option?" Wallace asked. "Frontal assault. Take the castle. Concentrate all your forces there. Take out the door, and inside we will find shelter. My men will guard your advance," Lennar offered. "A full frontal assault? Are you mad?" Wallace asked him. "Look around. The battle is lost. Your soldiers and mine are dying. Now worry about how they die. Massacred alone, or with a fighting chance to stop Kunar." Lennar waited, giving the king time to think. "This is the only chance your daughters have. With enough push, we might get you to them. The battle may be lost, but the war may be decided tomorrow. I will need a flag with a royal crest on it. My men will rally to it," Wallace thought aloud. "I saw one back the way we came, lying on top of a dead soldier." "I will retrieve it," Lennar offered. "No, I will get it. I need you and your magic at the gate. Protect these two," Wallace requested. "With my life," Lennar pledged. Lennar took a position in front of the gate. "Get behind me." The soldiers did as commanded. Lennar closed his eyes. Excuse me. The world around them flickered for a moment, and they were encased in an invisible shield. Without hesitation, Wallace turned back the way he came. Alone he fought through the mass of tusked beasts. His sword dripped with their blue blood from the multitude of beasts that had fallen to its edge. He vaulted over a large rock in his path and weaved around several fallen bodies. He stabbed one unfortunate beast in the face, ripping one of its tusks loose. He was close now. His daughter's hope lay just ahead, a few more strides, and he would have it in his hands. Two beasts attacked, one behind while his attention was on the royal flag. They knocked him off balance, threatening to drive him to the ground. If he fell on his back, the weight of his armor would make him less mobile and make it impossible to fight them. The ground would be a death sentence for him. Wallace dug his heels into the ground, pushing against the weight of the beast, grunting with all of his might. The third jumped from the shadows, adding its weight to the fight. Wallace formed a hard armored fist and drove it into the face of one of the beasts. It howled in pain, backing away enough to give Wallace some space to take up a fighting position. He tightened his grip on the sword, stabbing it into the foot of the second. Blue blood shot into the air, and it stumbled away, crumpling to the ground, clenching its foot. The third he stabbed through the midsection and slowly fell to the ground with a hand covering the wound, already dead. Wallace turned to engage the hobbling beast, and with one quick motion he severed its head from its body. The last attacker charged. Wallace cut off two of its arms and sliced its body in half at the waist. One quick breath later, he was running toward the flag again. He lifted the flag high above his head, waving it furiously, trying to get the attention of any of his remaining soldiers. He ran toward the gate. The flag flew above him, waving against the wind like a beacon of hope and victory, where moments before death seemed so certain. Wallace used one hand to grasp the flag, while the other he gripped his sword ready to defend himself. In the distance, he could make out the few shadowy figures rallying to the call of the royal colors. "To the gate! Rally! To the gate!" he cried over and over again during the charge. Lenore came into view, a dim image against the black smoke hanging everywhere. He was using a powerful spell to shield the gate and what few soldiers made it to the rallying point already. The shield held back a wall of beasts. Wallace looked around and found himself surrounded by a dozen or so men. They grew to 20, and the only thing that stood between them and the gate were the beast. "Attack! For the kingdom! For the world! For your fallen brothers!" Wallace shouted. Wallace and the soldiers flanked the beast and made short work. The beast died horribly violent deaths. When the men finished, the ground was steeped in blue blood, mixing with the red of the few wounded soldiers, which created an eerie mix of purple pools. "We need a clear path. It might be a hasty retreat when we come out of the castle. Move the bodies." Half the remaining fighters moved the dead. The other half kept a watchful eye. "Your Majesty, the way is clear," a soldier called to him. Wallace nodded. "Lenore, would you be so kind?" He motioned toward the door. Lenore smiled, and with a flick of his hand the castle door crumpled in on itself. More beasts waited on the other side of the door. As soon as the door was gone, the beasts poured through it like a black flood. Wallace's soldiers did not falter. They kept the scattered line from falling to the new threat. Lenore was the key to their victory, dropping rocks onto the beasts and killing them under the weight. Some he threw into the castle wall, impacting hard enough to kill the beast. Wallace struck down many with his sword, as did the rallying soldiers. When the battle was over, 2 more of Wallace's forces lay dead with the beast. So much blood had been spilled on the ground, it was soggy beneath their feet. Too many of his soldiers had died today. Wallace swore an oath to the dead, himself and the Creator. They would be avenged. Kennar would pay with his life. "Be quick," Lenore advised. "His eyes will be on us soon. We are too close to be missed." "Men, regroup. Gather yourself and steel your nerves. Gather any weapons you can carry. We're about to enter the castle. It is time to make evil pay for its wicked deeds," Wallace called to his injured soldiers. "Be quick." They went about gathering swords and daggers, and a few of the men chose to take bows and arrows with them as well. Soon the soldiers had replenished their weapons. Lennar stopped dead in his tracks. "What is it?" Wallace's voice was filled with concern. "It is not good. We must find cover now." Lennar rushed them in, his eyes wide focused on the sky. A massive shadow crossed over them, blocking out any light coming through the thick smoke. Wallace's blood ran cold when a savage cry came from above. It was the unmistakable sound of death coming for them. That was chapter 1. Chapter 1 of this short book. If you like it, you can get it on Amazon. You can go to my website, whichever one, and you can click on it. There's ebook forms, there's paperback copies, whichever you like. If you like it, comment below. Let me know what you think. Don't forget, I'm going to put a link for my website. You can go to it. You can find out new information. You can find out the books I have available. There's links there that will take you directly to it. I'll put links for the Amazon on here. You can find me on Facebook, C.E. Dennison. Don't forget to, if you like the stuff, if you like the channel, subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the book. But hope you enjoyed. I'll be sharing some more content with you like this in the future. So stay safe out there and just have a great day. Thanks.